The Brewhouse was created to capture and share with you the long history of the Genesee Brewery, but the brewery itself isn't half as interesting as the beer and the people who make it. Visit GeneseeBrewhouse.com. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. To my left, Tariq Spence.
Happy to be back. Week 1.
Yeah, having a great run. Week 1, NFL. Pat Duffy.
Yep.
And what else?
Well,
what else would you wear today?
Opening day, finally took the plunge. Now, I've bought the quarterback starting first full season jersey. Every year they've started a first full season, and technically this is Allen's first full season, and it's never gone well. So we're going to see if this jersey breaks the trend of my J.P. Lossman and my E.J. Manuel and my Trent Edwards and my Todd Collins and my Rob Johnson.
Oh, my goodness.
Fingers crossed.
That's quite a streak for you.
Well, you know, I got a touch.
Hey, opening day? Opening day. What are some of the things you're looking forward to this year?
Looking forward to seeing if Pat Mahomes can repeat the performance. Very hard to do that 2 years in a row. Looking forward to seeing Le'Veon Bell play. I mean, this is a guy who was really at the top of his game for the Steelers, sat out a whole year. Now he's going to come back, and he's got all that frustration to lay out on the Bills' defense. So that should be a lot of fun. Can Tom Brady do it again? You know what I mean? That's a lot of fun to see this all over again with no Gronk.
Yeah.
And a brand new system, brand new offense. And
They're very well thought of.
Yeah.
I mean, I go back to the time when everyone's predicting that they might go undefeated again. As the Patriots right now are more well thought of than at any time since then.
And the Saints have what we have, unfinished business. Last couple of years, they've been devastated with losses. So let's see if they can go to the Super Bowl.
Are people outside of your home talking about the Patriots that way, or is that just you
All
and
the
your
power
family?
rankings.
Oh, really?
All the
Bill
power rankings.
Pucko power ranking Patriots are awesome.
I think the most interesting team out there this year is the Pittsburgh Steelers, because without the two guys, it's sort of a less is more. So like us today, the less is more thing going in there. I'm actually calling Pittsburgh as the AFC's Super Bowl rep.
I think you're way wrong on that, and I think you did it 5 years too late. Like, if Ben Roethlisberger was 5 years younger, he was playing like Ben Roethlisberger used to be able to play, maybe I'd listen to you. Maybe somebody else steps up and does something where Le'Veon and Antonio Brown were lacking last season, but Ben Roethlisberger is not the Ben Roethlisberger we knew, and you can only plug so many guys that you've never heard of into an offense before you finally run out of talent.
These guys.
Yeah. Schuster, we know.
Schuster, we know.
Schuster,
yes.
we do know.
But the Steelers have relied on 3 offensive power, like super power weapons, and you got lucky going from Santonio Holmes to Antonio Brown, right? From Le'Veon Bell, and then you get Connor to work out last year. How many magic beans do you have in that bag before the house just collapses on you?
And with everything that Antonio Brown's doing out with the Raiders, it makes them look better. So his sort of antics make them look better. They've said nothing, and we'll see what happens and see if he's ready for the Raiders season.
Look, but you bring up the antics. Yes, he's got the antics. He's crazy. I'm loving watching all of this, by the way. It's very entertaining. But the guy can play, right? And
can he?
He can't? I mean, look at the last couple of seasons in Pittsburgh. There's a reason why he got the contract he got. There's a reason why the Raiders gave up everything they did.
New quarterback, new system, new head coach who's made some mistakes.
I think, and I'm gonna step out on a limb and make a prediction. I don't think Antonio Brown is going to be the Antonio Brown in Oakland that he was in Pittsburgh, but I think Ben Roethlisberger will be hurt more by not having Antonio Brown than Antonio Brown will be hurt more than you, I'm saying, Roethlisberger.
Yes. I like him. Who you putting in the Super Bowl?
I'll go with KC because I just believe they've got the power. Now that they've added this running back, somebody got rid of.
LeSean McCoy? I can't wait.
Oh, that's a lot of firepower.
Hold on. Can we stop real quick?
He's an after.
If we're going to bring up LeSean McCoy here, let's bring up LeSean McCoy. So all of a sudden, LeSean McCoy makes that Chiefs offense unstoppable, right? And the Chiefs needed him, even though they weren't willing to trade a 6th or a 7th round pick to pick up his $6 million salary. All of this is after the fact stuff. Whoa, look how great they are. Oh, he's not good enough for a 6 or a 7.
The Bills had a better chance of winning that game against the Jets if they had LeSean McCoy. You know they're not going to win on Sunday.
Of course they're going to win on Sunday.
No, they're not going to win.
Who's your other team?
I would probably go with the Saints. I think they got a lot of unfinished business over in the NFC, and I really don't know too many other teams that are better than them. I don't believe in the Rams. I don't believe in too many teams in the NFC other than maybe Philadelphia. And I'm a Giants fan. I don't want to root for them.
Yeah, I'll back that up. I got Steelers and Saints. Who do you like?
I do like Philly coming out of the NFC just because, I mean, everything's been happening around Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than Nick Foles is. So if that team can be successful with Foles, as long as Wentz can stay upright, I think that team might be unstoppable. I'm going dark horse, feast or famine team out of the AFC. I really like Baltimore, and I really like the potential that Lamar Jackson shows because, listen, I know the Bills are a bad example win-loss wise, but the fact of the matter is there are still a lot of defensive coordinators in this league that can't stop dual-threat NFL quarterbacks. And if they can find a way to make him a legitimate QB with the tools that he has, I don't know how you stop it. How do you stop it?
They haven't lost a preseason game in 4 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Amazing?
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah.
Why would you challenge him on that?
Explanation.
Who's going to look it up?
I know.
We are the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. We talk Bills next. The Press Box is brought to you in part by Bay & Goodman Pizza, a local Rochester favorite. Corner of North Winton and Browncroft, Bay & Goodman Pizza. Thanks for joining us. We are the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Pat, we brought it up, so clear it is. Are they a better, worse team without LeSean McCoy?
Well,
doesn't matter.
Let's go out to the desert and look at Vegas. You know how much the spread moved on Sunday for this Jets game when LeSean McCoy was released? Tariq, 0.0 points. Not a single dot moved with potentially Devin Singletary, a guy who's never touched a ball before in the NFL, starting over LeSean McCoy. Listen, I appreciate what LeSean McCoy did in Buffalo. LeSean McCoy at one point was arguably the best running back in the league. If you watch LeSean McCoy play last season, if you watched him play in the preseason, he's not what he used to be. You can blame the offensive line last season, fine, but he's 31 years old. That cliff comes at 30 years old, and he fell off that cliff. 561 rushing yards is what he rushed for last season. How do you justify paying a man $6 million in a backfield with LeSean McCoy and a guy you drafted in the third round and TJ Yeldon?
So why did it take so long to make this decision?
So that's what I don't get. And
That's why I'm confused about it. You made the decision about a week before the start of the NFL season.
No, they must have wanted to keep him. They were looking for a reason to keep him, and he didn't.
But everything Duffy just said is absolutely right. Why would you still want to keep him and pay him that much money? And Frank Gore, and the fact that you're in a youth movement, and the fact that he's a very valuable asset to your offense.
So I have two theories on that. One, you had so many other holes in the team that you weren't going to release McCoy and force yourself to take a running back in the third round of the draft. They saw that a guy that they thought was the best running back fell to them. Okay, we'll take a chance. That makes McCoy expendable. Two, Brandon Beane, the general manager, is a guy who loves to make deals. For example, he traded a fifth-round pick last year, Wyatt Teller, an offensive lineman, for a fifth and a sixth rounder to Cleveland this year instead of releasing him, which 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it doesn't matter. It's an afterthought. I think Beane, and foolishly, thought that if he talked all summer about how great LeSean McCoy was and how he was going to be the starting running back, that some general manager was going to go, oh, how are we going to get LeSean McCoy? And it didn't happen because other teams had tape of LeSean McCoy.
What are we doing with general managers? They say one thing, then do another. Say one thing and do another. This happens with the Raiders. This happens with the Bills. This happens with the Giants. The Giants are in a situation similar to that where they're just like, well, we believe we got a top starting quarterback. Guess what? He ain't starting week one. And you took him with the 6th pick overall. So what are we to believe from general managers when they say one thing and then just before the start of the season, I'm sorry, we're in the youth movement.
I don't think they believe that they owe us anything. They simply, they have their own agenda.
We pay for the
Well, look,
tickets.
we got, so we have opening day. We're in New York. Yeah, but that, really.
Yeah, I know.
They've been selling. They've been selling out or coming close to it for decades.
I don't like that
of
meal
bad
anymore.
football teams.
Serve me another meal, all right?
So the line that didn't move has the Jets favored by 3 this week. What do you see?
I see the Jets defense. Greg Williams is over there, right?
Yeah, that
Vonnegut,
totally
right?
sane guy who is able to keep a job everywhere he goes.
And your receiver core didn't get better, did it?
Oh, I think it did.
Against Greg Williams and his headhunters, we'll see what happens. I'm really concerned about that. Get the ball out of Allen's hands quickly. If they can do that, they have a great chance. I like Frazier defense versus the Jets offense. They've got some offensive line issues as well, do the Jets. I have the Jets winning, but a close one, probably 21-17.
Okay.
I'll give it 26-20 to the Jets. I just think Darnold is farther along in his progressions than Allen is. I don't like having to play this game, which I think is so important to the Bills' first game, because my thing is that they've got to win 4 division games, which makes the one in New York the real swing game in the division.
Listen,
so I don't like picking against them, but I think I have to.
I don't feel great about the 3. I don't feel great about opening in New York. But, I mean, listen, Sam Darnold may be further along than Josh Allen is. It's up for debate. They both now had a full offseason in those offenses with the same. Actually, I mean, I would say Josh Allen is at an advantage because Sam Darnold had to learn a whole bunch of new stuff. He had a season under a system, and now he's under a whole new system. His head coach, Adam Gase, is legitimately insane, along with defensive coordinator Greg Williams, who's legitimately insane. The Jets are a tire fire right now. Their 3rd-round pick that they picked weeks ago was released. And not only was he released, he cleared waivers. Like, it is a special kind of scouting screw-up for you to draft a guy who made it through waiver claim of all 32 NFL teams that nobody else took. I'm not thrilled about the 3 points, but I think that the professionalism, and I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, of the Bills coaching staff and their game day preparation outweighs what's going on in New York. And I think the Bills win on Sunday. I'm going to give them a 24-17 win for the Bills.
Wait a minute. You, a couple of weeks ago, were all criticizing the head coach and
Yes.
his decision-making and game decisions. Yes. And you're telling me in a close game, he's going to make the right game decision.
Compared to Adam Gase, you're talking about a guy in Adam Gase who Kenyon Drake in Miami was ready to be a breakout running back, and he took carries away from him for Frank Gore. The opposite the Bills just did, right? They released their veteran running back so they could give the young guy time to shine. I think that in this particular situation, this coaching staff is better than the other coaching
And it
staff.
proves you're flexible.
Yeah. Adam Gase is not running the ball. Le'Veon Bell is. And last time I checked, Le'Veon Bell was pretty good with a year of rest.
I'm going to make one more prediction. You ready? Le'Veon Bell runs the ball fewer than 15 times on Sunday.
I won't take that bet.
I won't take it either.
Okay,
if
good.
that happens, then the Bills will win.
Yeah.
We have the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brew House. Like it or not, is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Here's the Press Box trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Hello, thank you for joining us. This is the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brew House. Like it or not, the fact that the Buffalo Bills bathroom facilities at the stadium were ranked 3rd worst in the league.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that 100%. I'm there every Sunday in the bathroom. I mean, listen, the stadium is not a modern NFL stadium, but I like it the way that it is. I've gone to, a dozen NFL stadiums outside of Buffalo throughout my illustrious comedy career. I don't like these modern amenities, and I know I may be in the outside, but like Detroit, for example, that stadium was built 15 years ago now, Ford Field. It's like watching a game in a mall, right? Like I want to not want to be in the bathroom. I want to not want to stand in a concourse. I want to be in my seat and watching a football game and not worried I'm going to damage something that's breakable inside the stadium.
Andrew Luck's retirement, virtually right before the start of the season.
Yeah. This will be a part of my unfinished business. I think that there was a lot happening with Andrew Luck prior to it. His decision was very honest in the sense that he wasn't really recovering. And he is ranked, I'm talking about one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. I've never actually seen anything like this, especially from a leader that a quarterback is. Yeah. That being said, is that, there's videos circulating now of all the things he tried to do and to get back into games with Chuck Pucko. And I think that's the problem with fans. Fans just want the results. They don't care how it comes. If you devote 10 years, 15 years to the team, they'll love you a lot more. But he gave what he could. They never really protected him. That's a GM and ownership issue. I just think that the fans in a drunk situation, in an emotional situation, cared more about their fantasy teams.
And yet there was a flip side to this. It was like a reactionary. Everyone said, oh, it's too bad, and isn't he great? And then you get some of these ex-NFL players coming back, and some other fans saying, hey, you know what? Don't complain about being hurt. If you're going to be a pro football player, you learn to suck it up.
I mean, I think 15 years ago that argument's listenable. I don't think that's a legitimate argument now based on what we know. But that being said, as much as you're a piece of garbage, I can't really fault those folks. Like, you spent the money to sit in the seats. If you want to boo, you can boo. Like,
it's for the Colts, though. You didn't pay to see Andrew Luck. You paid to see the Colts.
Okay. If whoever bought season tickets to see the Bills this year paid to see Josh Allen throw the football. If something I will not mention happens,
you do it.
Yeah, I was pissed when I got my primetime tickets last season and I was watching Derek Anderson play against the New England Patriots. It's not fun for me. I'm not fun.
But this is football. Injuries happen all the time.
Sure, then don't put Andrew Luck's face on the side of my ticket.
I agree. But you sell a lot of those jerseys by doing that.
We are the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Unfinished Business is next. And now here's this week's MVP Experience Stat of the Week, brought to you by Sport Clips, where it's good to be a guy. No appointment ever needed.
And now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Hey, did you hear that with Dunkin's Sip Peel Win game, you can win prizes online like money towards home improvements?
Maybe we can fix the hole.
Bathroom. Renovate the whole bathroom.
Come play Sip Peel Win at Dunkin' for your chance to win millions of prizes. America runs on Dunkin'.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Unfinished Business, presented by Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'. Pat.
You know, normally I'm one to argue for nuance and maybe things can happen that aren't always black and white. This is not an example of that. The Arizona Cardinals either made the greatest or worst decision in the history of professional sports. They took a quarterback in the first round, played him to a point where they got the first overall pick, traded that quarterback for a second-round pick to draft another guy first overall. Oh, and by the way, they hired a new head coach to do all of this, a guy that didn't have a winning record in the Big 12 coaching NCAA football. What you did is a huge gamble, and from where I'm sitting, it was a terrible mistake. I watched Kyler Murray play a little bit in preseason, and granted, they're preseason football games, but not only does Kyler Murray not look ready to play NFL football, his coach looks completely inept when it comes to coaching NFL football. If this happens, and it's a massive disaster, they'd be one of the only teams in NFL history to blow 2 first-round quarterbacks in consecutive seasons where one of the guys didn't get suspended, and you did it to yourself. I'm almost hoping Josh Rosen, not with Miami, ends up having a successful career, because if you're not successful, you made a terrible decision because you never would have known what Josh Rosen did in Arizona. I can appreciate the balls it took to do it, but I still think you're really stupid for that move.
Well, it happened again. It's now 2-3 weeks in a row where we're coming into these moments of booing top athletes because they've reported an injury. Novak Djokovic is the #1 tennis player in the world and had to leave in the 4th round of the U.S. Open, and people booed him. These injuries are not something that you can diagnose right through your camera, or because you paid a lot of money for a ticket to go see them at Arthur Ashe Stadium, that you get to determine whether or not he should still continue to play. Athletes are just that. They're human beings. If they can't go, they can't go. Novak Djokovic is the #1 tennis player in the world. You think he was just calling it a day early? No, he wants to be #1 and stay #1 and win the U.S. Open. He wasn't able to do that, but it wasn't because he was lazy or wanted a day off. It's because he was injured. This is what sports does. You go out there, you play, you give it 100%, you could get injured. There's no guarantee. That's why they pay him a lot of money. But I guess that's not enough for some fans.
Nick Saban had a problem on Saturday night. His Alabama Crimson Tide was a 54.5-point favorite over New Mexico State. Now, Nick Saban wants to beat that spread. He wants to do it because his Alabama supporters out there are putting money on his team to cover a 54.5-point line. And if they tell you they don't know, they're lying. That's why Penn State won 79-7. That's why Maryland was a 79-0 winner over Howard. And the thing is, this is nothing new. I take you back to the year 1916. I remember it well.
I was going to say, did you graduate from high school that year?
And the issue is Cumberland College. Cumberland College had a football game scheduled at Georgia Tech. There were some issues here. Cumberland College didn't have a football team. They had disbanded it earlier in the year. But Georgia Tech wanted to play this game. John Heisman was their coach, and it was said he had it out for Cumberland because they had beaten his baseball team 22-0 earlier that year. Cumberland also was going to have to pay Georgia Tech $3,000 if they didn't show for this game. Heisman sweetened the pot and offered them an extra $500 if they'd come. So they don't have a coach. The team manager goes on fraternity row at this college and recruits a football team of about 20 guys, puts them in uniform, and sends them down to Georgia Tech. And everybody gets what they want here. Cumberland doesn't wind up paying the $3,000. They get the $500, and they have an expense-paid trip to Atlanta, the big city, when you're a small college in Tennessee. And John Heisman got what he wanted. They scored 63 points in the first quarter. 63 more in the second, and went on to a 222-0 victory over Cumberland College. the largest single margin of victory by any school in the history of the NCAA. There are no records as to whether or not they actually covered the point spread that day. My assumption is that they did. Unfinished Business brought to you by Dunkin. America runs on Dunkin. Tariq?
Did they pay the athletes then?
I imagine they divvied up that $500.
Maybe they paid him in beer. I don't know.
Thank you, Tariq. Nice run.
Thank
Pat?
you.
Best part of that story, Georgia Tech still running the same offense they did in 1916.
Thank you for joining us at the Rochester Press Box. We'll see you next week.